talk about Swami Tattwamayananda's visit. I mean, of course, we know his character, that how scholarly he is and how teacher-like he is. It was fitting.
I thought the topic, and who chose the topic, was a good content.
He gave a retreat on that in San Francisco before.
I have 2 points to say that I wanted to say. One was he was talking about the misconception of the prayer. Like he was saying that typically the tendency is that after reading the lives of the great saints, we have a tendency to say that we cannot ask or pray for any small things. We'll always have to ask for devotion or knowledge. And then he said, no, that's not the case. Praying for anything small will allow you to, knowing the answer for that prayer will allow you to have more faith in God. That will lead you to improve in your spiritual path. The other thing was that the Saturday afternoon session he was talking about different ideas about how, like as part of the retreat, he was saying we need to spiritualize every action that's performed by our senses, and then he was talking about the prayerful attitude and was also saying about the whenever there is a negative thought process or negative, he was saying try overcoming that by having the positive thought currents. And then he quoted this character about Duryodhana. He says Duryodhana has this tendency to say that I know what is good, what is bad, but I don't feel like doing the good thing. And then later I asked him, what is an answer for that kind of a person? And then Maharaj said, that's a very special character. You need to realize that Duryodhana never wanted to change. So nobody could help him, but he was saying that even a smallest desire to change, that itself is the greatest asset, and it will help you change in your path.
And that Duryodhana says that I know what is good, but I cannot do it. I know what is bad, I cannot desist from it. And it's all because of your will. He's telling Krishna that you are the one.
Oh.
So Maharaj said that, see, he will give that logic, that it's all God's doing, that's why I don't need to do anything. So how people give different logics. Everybody has their own logic and they don't change.
Yeah, Maharaj is saying that such people just keep on talking, they don't really want to change. And then, like, I couldn't even refute that. I understand, like, the moment he said that, any smallest desire to change itself is a greatest asset. That's what he told.
Yeah, when it comes to this good, bad, it is, the perception of somebody, right? And I bring this up because I just heard it in 3 different places. Kaikeyi and Mandara, when because of the Ramnavami, this was discussed partly in the Harikatha. And Kaikeyi was initially happy to hear that Rama was coronated, but then this Mandara comes in and sort of talks to her differently. So the thing is this Mandara lady a bad person or is she a good person? Is the question. Whose perception is it? Now, if you had a servant or somebody working for you, you would want their 100% loyalty. So that's what she was doing to Kaikeyi. She was her maid, and she was being so loyal to her and said, things in favor of her mistress or employer. So from that perspective, she's being a very loyal servant. So you can see how you can argue that something that is not fair.
In fact, the whole life of Mandara was put at stake. She came from the other country to be with Kaikeyi, to work in the best interest of the Kaikeyi. She's doing her job. That is her dharma, she's doing that. No, that is one of the reasons why when I asked somebody, why Kaikeyi and Mandara were not punished by Rama? He said they did not do anything wrong, absolutely. There is nothing there to punish them. They are doing their dharma. From your point, from other side, it is not dharma. But thing is, for Mandara, that is her dharma. She did not get married. She doesn't have a family, no children. All she wanted to do is to come to Kaikeyi and work in the best interest of Kaikeyi. That's why she was never punished. So is Kaikeyi.
Again, I think, passing judgment is one thing I've realized. We have to resist passing judgment on somebody because it doesn't suit our viewpoint. But it's a difficult thing because the first thing that comes to our mind is, oh, that person was wrong.
It's human nature that when we start reading Ramayana, we automatically assume there are two sides, and we always think that one is right, the other is wrong, and we side with one side. So that happens, like since Kaikeyi and Mandara are responsible for all these things, so we side with Rama side or Sita side, and we blame everything on Kaikeyi and everything. But like the sage who did not want his son to punish Parikshit, if you are really an enlightened person, if you are above all these things, you don't find fault with these things. That is one of the reasons why Kaikeyi was never punished. So at some point Bharata scolded her, really scolded, bad, very bad. But other than that one, he did not do anything, or Rama did not do anything. In fact, in Dasharatha's court, there was a priest who is an atheist. You know that one? Alongside Vasishtha, there is a priest called Jabali. He doesn't believe in God, he doesn't believe in soul, he doesn't believe in afterlife, Swarga, Naraka and all these things. Still he is a priest. And Dasharatha respected him as he respected Vasishtha all throughout. And when you read Ramayana very, very critically, Dasharatha is a wonderful person. He is really a person of dharma. So he respected Jabari. You are my priest, you are working for me, but that if you have some conviction, I don't question. It is my conviction, it is your question. And the same thing Bharata continued after Dasharatha's passing away. At some point, Rama loses temper with Jabari, and immediately Bharata and Vasishtha pacifies Rama. That is not the way. You cannot lose temper. So Jabali says to Rama, it's all rubbish. There is no afterlife, there is no heaven or earth. Your father is dead, that's all. He is ashes now. So, to somebody who is ashes, you want to sacrifice the thing and you want to go against all our wishes. Just come back and rule the country. At that point, Rama loses temper, really loses temper. Like any other human being, he lost his temper. Then Vasishtha corrects him. No, you don't do that one. You cannot do that one. He is arguing at your best interest. So, if we are really elevated people, like recently, last year, Pope Francis said, even the unfaithful are children of God. Even atheists are children of God. Muslims are children of God. We have to respect that one. We have to take them. Even if they don't come into our embrace, we have to go. He said that one. I really respected him when he said that one. So if God created everything, why do we say some group is not created by God? Why there should be this thing? For a pope to say that one, it is really great. He said Muslims, terrorists, everybody, and he is really doing things in that way, in that. So, for a great person, actually, when this Putrakamashti Yajna was conducted, Dasaratha manages the affairs. Like he conducts a meeting with all Purohits and all priests, ministers and everything. And when you read his instructions to the people, you really respect Dasaratha more than Rama. He is really embodiment of Dharma. He says, nobody should be left out. If there is an enemy from the enemy country, on that day in Ayodhya, you have to respect him, you have to give him danas. That is this one. So, throughout, alongside Vasishtha, there was an atheist who worked as a priest, not just a minister, he is a priest. Okay, you believe whatever your convictions are there, you are my this thing, I don't judge you. So like that. So we cannot. Mandhara is in fact, her sacrifice is as big as Mahatma Gandhi's or Buddha's. She left, she doesn't have a family, she didn't have a family, no children, no husband. She left everything, came to serve the master. So, but what happened is when we start Ramayana, we fall to one side and we judge everybody on the other side as bad. There is one question, I don't know whether anybody has read it. After Rama has killed Vali, Tara asks some dozens of questions to Rama. Why did you kill him? If you are a Kshatriya, unless somebody does harm to your kingdom, or to you, or to your family, you should not even show enmity. Sita also teaches him something like that. So, why did you kill him, first of all? Second thing, why did you kill from hiding?
From behind, yeah.
And she asks dozens of questions while lamenting her husband's death. Rama did not answer even a single one. So, for the Puranic explanation for that one is, for that mistake, he was killed by a Bali in Krishna avatar. But okay, let's not mix up two avatars, but let's talk about one avatar. What Sita also scolds Rama. If Danavas are coming and disturbing the peace in the ashramas and everything, it's none of your business. You did not come here for that purpose. You are not a Kshatriya now. You are in, your oath is that one. Kaikeyi is asked, you have to live like a Brahman, a yogi. So why are you meddling in the other people's affairs? Don't do that one. She tells him, you are doing very unwise thing. But Rama says, I am a Kshatriya, I have to do it. He did it and he got into big problems and everything. Then, the way he killed Vali is not at all Kshatriya, it's not even dharmic thing. It's none of your business. And in fact, it is Sugriva's fault. He left his brother in the cave, assuming that he is dead. He blocked the cave and he ran away. He took over the whole kingdom and his wife also. So these are the questions Tara asks. Not a single question was answered by Rama. The same thing happens in Krishna avatar also. Gandhara asks Krishna so many questions. And finally she curses him. He did not answer a single thing. So what happened is what you said is right. So 1 billion Hindus immediately say Mandara is bad person. Now if Mandara is bad person, Mahatma Gandhi is also bad person. Right? From the British point of view. When Queen Elizabeth II was getting married, Jawaharlal Nehru sent a piece of cloth spun by Mahatma Gandhi himself, Khadi, as a gift to Queen Elizabeth II. Because it came from a different country, they have displayed cloth in a display along with all the gifts. At that time, the Queen Mother, that means current Queen Elizabeth II's mother, he came and said, throw that trash out of this rubbish, out of this place. She cannot stand the sight of something that belongs to Mahatma Gandhi. That was the hatred. If you ask Churchill about Mahatma Gandhi, he says half-naked bucket.
No, dharma is different for everyone. It's,
Okay. So it all depends upon what side we are taking.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you some Telugu stories, in some Telugu movies,
Okay.
something happens.
Later on, we'll discuss about
Sure.
Tattwamayanandaji's visit.
Yeah, sure.
Please.
But that what you have is very good point.
So what he was, the main, I got all through the main thread was that there's this higher truth and follow whichever path and attach yourself to that higher truth, which is Atman. So he explained through Jnana, he explained through yoga and Karma yoga and Bhakti yoga, all sorts of things he explained, and do something but always realize that there is this Atman and you have to somehow reach that. So in the yoga one he was saying the 5 states of mind we also discussed during 6th chapter. And the 3rd state is Vikshipta. He said Vikshipta is like a pendulum. You are here in the ashrama, your thoughts are somewhere here, and then you go out and the thoughts go back. Like a pendulum, they are going left and right and left and right like that. So we must use willpower and get our mind to the next higher level, which is ekagra, which is focused, concentrated. So follow any path, doesn't matter, but somehow get to that higher truth.
I am really amazed to look at his depth of knowledge. So from Vedas to Spinoza to John Stuart Mill to Voltaire, every philosophical thing, he has got deep understanding. It is not just, okay, I know something and I am clinging to that one. It's all my world. No, it's not like that. And he quoted from Bible and Islam. And now he knows Ahmadiyya concept and everything. So in his knowledge there is no boundary and there is no walls. So I was really amazed. I thought I can sit with him years together and learn all the things from him. And when I talked about this Vedas and everything, he has got real good depth. It is not just dogmatic. I said, are there temples in Vedic times? He said clearly, no. There are no temples in Hinduism first of all. After the advent of Buddhism, because they built the temples, we started building temples.
And some of them we just went in after Buddhism's death.
Even, yes.
Yeah.
Some of them just we occupied their temples, converted, just like they are building mosques and temples. So we did the same thing at some point.
Yeah.
Like that last time when we read that one, Bhishma says, whenever we are doing the tarpanas to your parents, Pitrus, you have to use beef and everything. When it is gone, it was there, that is our culture. When it is gone, with the advent of Buddhism. Even Swami Vivekananda also says, because of Buddhism, we have refined a lot. There is so much
That's true.
animal violence, sacrifices and everything, all we have got rid of because of Buddhism. Brahmins used to eat meat like hell, like upma and idli. We got rid of because Buddhist people. They have forced us to change it. I brought the article today. I'm going to read a little bit. So he was outright in saying that one, there are no reservations. There are no temples in Vedic times, period. We never had temples. In Upanishads, there are no temples. It's all think concept. It's all in the mind, all the thing. And with Buddhists, we started that one. And very, very few people can really agree to that one and even understand that one. Because since childhood we think the temple is center of our religious activity. No, it was not. Maybe I think 10,000 years it was not, and for the last 3,000 or 4,000 years it is.
I think that he doesn't want to dilute anything for whatever lectures or whatever subjects or topics he's giving. He doesn't want to dilute it. He always sticks to the Vedas and things like But the other, like some of the, like I have been hearing this downstairs about the comparisons, but the thing is, everybody has their own way of doing it. So other Swamijis are just doing it in a way that people can understand, or just making it easy, simple, and then he doesn't want that. He wants it to be exactly how it is, and he will not change it. So that is his uniqueness. And that's why he, whenever it comes to this point of opening a Shastra school or something, he thinks about Pittsburgh, because he has to dilute for the other.
I think there is a reason why he wanted to get on. This is kind of a seat of learning in Pittsburgh, like Monroeville and Pittsburgh.
No, but everywhere there are classes, everywhere there are gatherings, everywhere. All the centers have definite, like days of Gita class and this and that. But he always thinks that he got this vibe definitely from the youth group or whatever, that he can come and he can just deliver it without diluting, without anything, and we will accept it. So that was in both ways, like so that's why he sticks to his point, he sticks to his examples, he sticks to his everything. He has so much of humor, but he never uses it during lectures or anything, but he uses it here and there. So much of humor he has, but like looking at him, you can never see that humor, because he's so serious when he's talking. So I think that is his uniqueness.
See, I was reading Swamiji's lecture here. It took me 5 readings to say I have got the outline of it, and how to read it maybe another 10 times. His depth, his vision, like it goes very, very deep. I was thinking like I was reading some Spinoza or something like this. So intelligent. Now, this kind of depth I have seen in Swami Tattwamayananda.
Tattwamayananda.
So he doesn't even do anything to sweeten the things to fit you.
Yeah, his name also, like that's why I was telling you that his name came from that, because he was a Sanskrit Pandit. He was like all this, like throughout his life, he just read, studied. So I think that's why his name was Tattwamayananda, because he is all about like Tattva. But it's just like he's like you. He's very like a person like that who has so much of so much of all this
And
jnana.
He's quite young. He's quite young.
He's
That
not-
all-
He's
50s.
yeah, 50. That's about it.
He's junior to Ganeshananda ji Maharaj.
Much. Yeah.
Much junior.
He's
Okay.
quite.
So he is like he is very. You will think that he is very stiff and everything. No, when he's very sweet, he's very loving. Like when he's so serious about what he's saying, but at the same time he's very sweet, very loving, continuously thinking about not bothering anybody, and so that was very nice.
So the way he explained how the Christianity started evolving, how it is modifying and morphing, how Saint Paul, how Saint Augustine has influenced the whole Christian thought and everything. Today morning I am sitting after hearing his lecture, I am Saint Paul, I am started researching, Saint Augustine started researching. That is the depth. It is not just our one small thing, like in Hinduism he has got depth, in the whole philosophy, religions, everywhere he has got that one. So I don't suppose if we can work with under him for about 3 or 4 years, how much knowledge we are going to get.
Yeah, he's going to do that. He's going to come,
He's going to come here and do that one.
take classes here.
Others?
I like the way
Hang out
he
people.
defined. Is this
No, go ahead.
Okay. Defined happiness, contentment on the 2 sides of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
that was a nice way of putting it, a practical way of thinking. If you can imagine a coin with only one side, and coin happiness and unhappiness, they go together. But if the coin had only one side, and then that kind of happiness is contentment.
I don't know what was discussed, I was not here earlier, but how he started the subject about the definition to the depth of what contentment is, the inner completeness, what exactly that means, how it is how the satisfaction word is so half.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't at all give what content may wanted to say about it.
I think to begin with, these topics, any of these topics, are fairly abstract and dry, so to speak. To speak for an hour and a half on something is just tremendous.
How beautifully he says what Dee is saying about his intention was to come here and teach the Shastras directly rather than so what he's saying, see, I am talking about the contentment, taking the different references from all the Upanishads, but actually every Upanishad is basically from Shastras this contentment will come. I am doing otherwise because I have to dilute the subject but it can be, if you directly read a Shastra, it actually teaches us the contentment fully well. He also has this point, he says, don't search for the happiness everywhere and everything.
Yeah, if you look for happiness everywhere all the time, then you will be unhappy. So the first step for contentment is stop looking for happiness everywhere and all the time. That itself causes a lot of discontent.
He chose Pittsburgh. Why?
He thinks that we are very eager to learn, and we are the perfect Aadhar, like we can take it whatever he teaches. So that's, I think, the best compliment that we can
The
get.
speaker seems to be muted.
How do I do that?
Give it to Santosh.
Okay, volume, did you increase the volume?
No, I
Santosh?
didn't increase the volume. Can you hear us?
It's pointing to the roof. You might want
It's
But what about the-
not little
What
bit,
about the
yeah.
volume?
Can you not hear me?
Yeah,
We can hear you the other way
Yeah,
around.
I can hear you too.
So then what was,
Harshad,
Harshal said something like he cannot hear us.
speaker, maybe the
I think the
voice-
volume.
volume
He's talking
was
about
low.
our volume.
How do we do that?
Harshal,
By
can
just
you hear
talking.
us?
No, now it's
You
good.
did it already.
Now it's good.
That was the microphone.
You are again moved this.
Oh.
Can
To roof.
Go ahead, Harshal.
We can't hear you.
He's unmuted.
No, he's not on mute. We were able to hear Ananda, but we are not able to hear you.
He's talking.
He did unmute himself, but I don't know if he's talking.
Did he write any books? Did he author any books?
He he wrote all the books, like on Gita, on Upanishads, but he's not publishing it. So he wrote that just by himself. He wrote. He kept it with him. So now Chaitanya Ji Maharaj is pushing him to get it out, publish it. So he's thinking, still not decided.
He think he wants to improve it, or
No, just like he doesn't want he doesn't want like all this fame and blah blah blah. It's just, he thinks that it should be like he wrote it, he wanted to. So even his lectures weren't in YouTube, but Chaitanya Ji Maharaj also scolded him. Is he by any means was he the junior of Chaitanya Ji Maharaj? Because Chaitanya Ji Maharaj always scolds him. To do
Junior
this, do
Prabhupada.
that. Okay. So it seems like
In modern days,
Yeah, maybe.
No, but they should not be overlapping because he was much.
He was under Tapasyananda.
Yeah, some kind of thread is there because he always scolds him that you should put your lectures in YouTube.
But when he has got such a depth of knowledge, he should give it to us.
No, he talks. If you go to him, he will teach, but he just did not want to publish his own books so far. But maybe in a few years they will come out.
But he already written and he kept it. He has books on, he was saying he has books on every Upanishad, every Gita, Bhagavad.
We need to be very, very attentive while listening to him, because he was just giving a specific example, specific story from one Upanishad, stopping just in between, just to have the gist with what he is talking, and shifting to the next Upanishads. So here, what he taught. I mean, that kind of attentiveness, if you don't have, then it will be difficult.
You are absolutely right. So I missed a whole Saturday's lectures. But Sunday I came. The way his subject changes from Upanishads to Vedas to Bible to Christianity to Islam, and it comes back. Like there is no walls, there is no limitations to his boundaries are not there. Everything is spirituality. He is everywhere. That is what. And I think I shared with Hari once. How many people I have talked about Rigveda, particularly the life and times of Rigvedic people and everything, and how many people made completely bogus statements. Somebody said the whole Rigveda is compiled in Varanasi. So there is no credit to that one. And whatever Swamiji said, it is very, very authentic. And he has got, and he simply, there is no reservations in what he is saying that one. Yes, that is a scholarly confidence.
We were at lunch, after lunch, and asked that which Upanishads do you prefer, or you find it preferably good than most. He said I hope everything has its own content, but Brihadaranyaka and the second one is Chandogya are the one that you should do more study about it.
Also mentioned about Isha.
Ishavasya.
Yeah.
I think he said Ishavasya their study starts with the Ishavasya.
He said he didn't answer the question of which Upanishad do you like. He said all these things are good, but Shankara wrote huge comment. First of all, these two Upanishads are the biggest, and Shankara also wrote a big commentary on both.
Yeah.
In these two, you will not only get spiritual knowledge, but a glimpse of how the society was at that time, how the Gurukulas were at that time. That is the speciality of these two, Chandogya and Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. We have about 8 minutes. Others, please.
Is Chandogya that one where the Guru sends the Satyatama, that one?
Now you showed me his email ID.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any protocol to reach out to him?
I do not know. I think you should introduce yourself and email.
So I introduced myself from Ramakrishna Mission Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I met you.
So I have met
Yeah,
you.
yeah. That's how I will
Somehow
know.
Ramakrishna Mission, Ramakrishna Ashrama Pittsburgh works all the time.
You
I
should
think-
write that.
Harshal wants to say something. Harshal? Are you able to now? We're still not able to hear you. He can hear us. but-
Somebody else talk?
I can hear you.
Oh.
Okay. Prashant, you have anything to say?
No.
Okay.
You can say, you know that, right? Just not to say I can hear you, you can say other things too. About the Swami, about his visit.
I like the part where he said that all the experience that we have when we read the scriptures and when we are in the presence of sages, that is not ours. We have to earn our experience, which means that we have to stabilize our experience. So that thing was, I've never heard of that before. It was really...
Yeah, because Ramakrishna gave it to
Brahmananda is
Brahmananda. He's given it now to earn it or something.
So if we are reading about Advaita, we are readers of Advaita, we are not Advaitins, that's what he clearly said. If I go to bank and draw money, I am not a banker. So if I read, I am just a reader. So Advaita means I have to really experience. That is one, he was very clear on that one. And second thing, we have to earn it.
Hello.
Finally,
finally.
please talk.
So just few points. One thing I really liked was in the first day he actually gave like a difference between what we understand as satisfaction versus what is real contentment. So he said we actually think satisfaction and contentment are the same thing. We think that say when we get a thing that we really wanted for a long time, we are contented. But in reality, what has happened is there is an absence of the unhappiness that we had because of the absence of that thing. So because that dukkha has been removed, we feel some kind of satisfaction. But that's not real contentment. He said the real contentment comes only through a spiritual dimension. And then later he said how to achieve it through the various paths, karma yoga, jnana path, etc. So the discussion about karma, one thing I really liked was he explained what is the karma phala tyaga. So we always in Gita it comes so many times that we have to give up our right on the results of an action. So in reality, how to practice it? So he says, give up the anxiety that we have for the results, or so like the other way to say it is we should not dwell on the results, like however they may come. We should not dwell on how they will come. We should just do our work and then offer everything to God and other things. There are several ways that are suggested. And just carrying on the same point earlier that was discussed, that everybody is the same. He says that like in Advaita there is a reason, like very practical reason that is given behind all of that, is that the same divinity is behind every person. So we should not hate or like belittle anybody, because the same divinity is in that person. So if we hate somebody, we are actually as if like belittling the divinity in that person. So if we have that attitude, it will help us.
We have 2 more minutes.
This is a great point. I want to use those 2 points. It has to be really a Mahatma who can really appreciate and like the person who is disagreeing with him and my core beliefs. We all tend to that one. If I believe in something and if somebody doesn't agree with my belief system, I hate him. That's the human nature. So we have to, Mahatmas go back. That's what the Shrada's example I have given. Like, even if there is a priest who doesn't believe in God, he continued as a priest as long as he lived. So we are not there, but it makes us Mahatmas if we can go that far. So not everybody should like our philosophy, our basic belief system. If somebody disagrees, we should not hate them. We have to love them. Everybody, there is a divinity in everybody, like what Harshav has said. 1 minute more.
In one of the, I have other things to say, but in one of the informal discussions, and the way, and also in response to Srini's question about humans, why is India doing like this, and what about why doesn't anybody understand or something? I don't remember the question, but his answer was, that answer was very funny. Very funny means very interesting. He thought that he did not reply the country ends question, which I think was also there, but the more he talked about how the fact that he was referring to people here assembled on that weekend who he believes must have done karmas in their past lives, which made them, they are coming from different faiths, different backgrounds, and what is it in them that they become attracted to higher truths? And similarly, when in India you see these people who are not worrying about, not caring about Brahmajnana or for that matter devotion, that is because of their karma.
Okay, we'll stop here.
Maharaj, I have a question, and please feel free to comment on this. Between manifest and the question is manifest and unmanifest.
Once more.
The question about manifest and unmanifest.
Yes.
Now, in the unmanifest form, my understanding is that the three gunas are in
Equilibrium.
Exactly. And it has to be that one of the gunas has to be in imbalance to be manifest. Is that correct?
Yeah. There should be a disturbance in the equilibrium. Then only creation starts. So, this topic could be discussed from two perspectives, from the Vedantic perspective or from the Sankhya perspective. Now, Sankhya philosophy is accepted in Vedanta in its details, but not in its conclusions. So, to the extent that it describes the evolution of this universe from the unmanifest Prakriti through Mahat or cosmic intelligence and Ahangara in its three dimensions, Sattvika, Tamasika and Rajasika, and again Tanmatras, finally culminating in this created world which consists of Panchamahabhutas. So this evolution is accepted in Vedanta. But the basic difference is, in Sankhya system, there are two fundamental categories, Purusha and Prakriti. In Vedanta, instead of Purusha, which in Sankhya is endowed with Chaitanya but inactive, in Vedanta, Purusha is defined as Puri Sede Iti Purusha. Pura means this physical body, with 9 openings. In that body, the Atman is immanent, the inner resident, Antaryami. In that sense, it's called Purusha. That Atman is capable of creation, but not affected by creation. That Atman by its very nature is omnipresent, immanent and transcendental. Everything else belongs to a different ontological category. So from an ontological point of view, in Sankhya system, both Purusha and Prakriti have equal status. You can't say one is absolute, other is non-absolute. But in Vedanta, Atman is the only fundamental absolute category. Everything else, including Prakriti, is relative. So, the word unmanifest and manifest should be understood from these two perspectives. Unmanifest is the state which is called avyakrita, is a state where the created world is an involved condition. Involved means potential. Like the huge banyan tree is involved in the seed. It is different from the tree, but it is capable of evolving into seed. So creation in Sankhya is evolution. In Vedanta it is projection. The absolute projects itself as the relative. Brahman, when looked from the standpoint of relativity, that is time, space and causation, is seen to be this world. But the same reality, when perceived, when you transcend Maya, is perceived as Brahman itself. That's why, Sri Ramakrishna says in the Gospel, in the Samadhi state, when the Jivatma Paramatma Aikya is experienced, there is no world. So he cannot even drink water. He can't eat. So a person in the Samadhi state, remember the Samadhi state in Vedanta is different from the Samadhi state of Yoga. That is different. In Yoga, Samadhi is the 8th Angashtanga Yoga, 8th one. That Samadhi state is only prelude to the highest realization in Vedanta. Yoga conclusion is different from the conclusion of Vedanta. Yoga is great, good, yama, niyama, right all the way up to Samadhi, will help you to become fit and qualified for the highest realization. So coming back to your subject, the manifest is this world. When the unmanifest is disturbed in its equilibrium, then it starts evolving. And when it starts evolving, it assumes nama and rupa. Rupa, the forms, nama is the particular thought system that we use to distinguish one rupa from another rupa. That's why we name it. Think of it. Suppose the whole world is pervaded by the same thing, there won't be any names. Names are required when you have to distinguish X from Y. If everything is X, then there is no need of name. When you make different ornaments from the same gold, where you may call a ring, one form is called a ring, another form is called maybe necklace, another may be called something else, like that. So, when there is nama vaividhya, which means diversity in terms of forms, then you need to use a particular name to distinguish one rupa from another rupa, one form from another form. This happens when the avyakrita is disturbed by the equilibrium state of avyakrita is disturbed, and when it begins to evolve, when avyakrita or unmanifest becomes the manifest. But the whole thing happens within the relative from the Vedantic perspective. In yoga perspective, so as yoga Sankhya interrelated, in Sankhya perspective, this evolution happens all the way from Prakriti right up to these Panchamahabhutas, the Nama Rupa Jagat, But then all these are already present in the Prakriti. It's called involved state. Antarli. And just as a, this tree is involved in the seed. So that takes you to a few other important concepts in Vedanta, because in Vedanta has got different, not in Vedanta but Indian philosophy, the 6 systems of Indian philosophy, Astika Darsanas, there are different ways of analyzing the process of cause becoming the effect. One is Vivartavada, where the other is Parinamavada. So, 2 different approaches. Vivarta means the cause only appearing to have become the effect. Parinama means the cause evolving but Parinaman becoming, transforming itself into effect. Like the seed becomes oil. The oil cannot go back to seed form. But this gold can appear to have become the necklace. But the fact that it is only an apparent transformation will be clear to you. You melt it, goes back to gold. But you cannot bring oil back to seed. But if you make a pot out of clay, you break it, goes back to clay. So, the real transformation is called Parinama. A transformation is called transfiguration. They have coined a new English term while translating into English language, which again very an approximation to the original term. So transfiguration is transformation, not real but apparent. Now these 2 views take for granted one central principle, that is the effect pre-exists in cause. Unless the effect pre-exists in cause, the cause cannot either become the effect through transformation or can appear to have become the effect, as in Vivarta. So this should be understood. Sankhya believes in real transformation, like the seeds becoming oil. Vedanta, Dvaita Vedanta believes in apparent transformation. Of course, Ramanuja system, Madhva system, Chaitanya, all these systems also believe in real transformation. Ramanuja is the idea, whole Brahman becoming the Jagat and Jivas and pre-existing within Brahman itself. So that's it's a complicated system because it could be explained only in terms of Pruthak Siddhi, which I think I have no time to explain right now. So the whole point is, Vedanta believes that there is no such thing as Brahman becoming the Jagat. So Swami Vivekananda in his complete works, Jnana Yoga lectures, is trying to put this in the language of modern science. So he says, for example, when you look at the absolute reality Brahman through the prism of time, space and causation, there is relativity of Maya, to be more traditional, then that Brahman appears to have become this world. So when you are in a samadhi state, when you experience the highest Advaitic realization, then you transcend the relativity, transcend the time-space continuum, so to speak, and then you see Brahman as it is. When